I mean, then this is going to be interesting. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Mr. CA, for joining us. Let me welcome Maxim Pacquiao, who is commonly known as Max K. Mixer, who's joining us from the UK. Max, how are
Yeah,
you doing in the UK?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking. If you want us to go that way, we can go there. I'm very well. Thanks for asking. It's a pleasure to be here. Also, I know I've been watching you guys, but for interactions, today is my first time. But then as myself, I know when I was radio LIB, we used to chat a little bit. However, it's a pleasure to be here, and let me greet all of your wonderful, wonderful listeners, and those that will be tuning in as well, who are joining in, and those that will be joining us, and those that will even watch the video thereafter. Let me greet all of you in the name of the Lord. We hope that we will have a fruitful discussion here, also in the name of Mama Liberia. So it's a pleasure, and I am indeed gratified to be here.
Thank you, Max. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Again, this is Focus on Liberia. We are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In this edition, Max, and Max, you have been here before. I remember this is your second time when we were doing the Liberians. Oh no, we had a special broadcast on for talk show hosts, and I think we hosted you once or twice.
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah,
it's been a while.
yeah. I
And
remember.
welcome back to Focus on Liberia again.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine, always.
Yeah, we want to welcome our viewers from across the globe. As Anthony said, please share the show, invite someone, and we are happy to be speaking with Mike. Let's start by saying, we know you as an advocate and a talk show host, in fact, before even going to Liberia.
Yeah,
Let's get started with your, how you got into advocacy, because you're not only advocating in for Liberia. I saw you doing some even work in the UK that I saw. I was reading about you. You'll be surprised.
yeah, I
How,
know.
how did you get started in this advocacy role?
Yeah, the good thing is my full name, especially Maxim Pacquiao, once you Google it, you will make sure, I mean, Google will tell you that indeed this boy that was born all the way in the village of Foya district. It can be found on Google, and some of the activities he did in the UK, a contribution is also flagged out there. So indeed, thank you for making that research. Well, look, uh, if I may, with respect to your question, how did I get into advocacy? I think maybe I didn't know that I was doing advocacy when I was back home in Liberia. But I think when I sit down and reflect, I think I was doing something like that, but I didn't know. But then at the same time, again, uh, I passed through tough times when I was growing up as a child, and sitting before you here before the camera, we have never met. But maybe for the first time, I would tell a little bit of my story here,
Yeah.
because this platform is wonderful, and lets people know, those that been following me as well. We have never met, but I get a lot of followers across the diaspora. We never met, so they see Max as normally just sitting in a short video like this. Um, Max, you know, was born in Foya, and at the age of 2, um, one day my mom and the whole family used to go work on the farm. In the morning they would go, and in the evening they come back by about 6 o'clock or so. And one of these days, while I was just about 2 years old, my mother and the rest of the group family, they came from the farm, and they met me very, very sick. She met me sick in the hands of my late grandmother, may her soul rest in peace. And I mean, the clinic, because it was not in Fuya district itself, it was in the village, Yukbedu, and there was no clinic somewhere close, or maybe except you walk about 2 3 hours.
Okay.
And my mom, accordingly, later on in life, she told me just about, somewhere around midnight or so, they started walking to go so that they could, the people could attend to me, the doctors. And you know, she got there. My skin was still hot, you know. According to her, the fever was too heavy. However, she waited until the clinic was opened, and you know, I was admitted as a little boy, 2 years old, and they started looking after me. They fought hard, and according to my mom, uh, they brought the fever down. Dennis, as they were testing, normally when you carry children to hospital, especially when they're sick like that, uh, at a certain point in time, the doctors or specialists can come to test them. Sometimes they lift their feet up and see whether they get strength in it. Also, even adults, they can do it to us as well. And they have done this on the left foot, right hand, left hand. But then the doctors realized that indeed my right foot was coming down too fast, and the other ones was taking their own time. You know, that means muscles were in tight. And they according to her, they observed me for another 2-3 hours or so. They did the same test. Only for the doctor now to call call my mother in the room. They went to have chat with her and then told us, well, mommy, your handsome son you brought, you brought him in tight or so, but we are sorry to tell you that you're not going to take him, as you brought him. And the woman asked, what are you trying to say? He said, well, your son, is suffering from now caught polio. So the right leg is affected by polio. And my mother, she didn't know I was polio anyway. And there was no much explanation. So going home now, the fever came down, everything. Going home, she went with devastation, man. And she said she couldn't accept it. And then started taking me from one prayer person to another. Although her father was an imam, and they did all what they could do, and she stayed. It didn't satisfy, traveling from that village to another village, one village to another, trying to just fight this disease that caught his son and trying to damage his son or so. But she didn't realize that indeed that polio was for life. And on and on, she later accepted it, and then left the village, came to Foya itself, and then from Foya, I started school there. But then this is where I say, if I may ask on, I started now getting the kind of a feedback from the society. And I say, imagine going to 7 now, or so, as a child, you want to run around or so, but, everything I want to do physically, I wouldn't, it would stop me from doing it, because if I want to run, I will fall. If I want to play football, I can't, and thing. And I started facing the challenge, but I didn't know that, the challenge was going to be for life anyway. I was still a little child. I mean, every day I used to ask my mother as well, why? 1 mile a day. Or when I go to school, people are, my friends are laughing at me. I can't run, or so. And I remember once upon a time, to cut this story short, my mom took me to a village. I think I was somewhere around 11 or so. She took me to this village. I had no idea why we went to the village anyway, but but she used to like visiting other people. And we slept to this house. But when I entered this house, I met a gentleman a man sitting on the floor, but this man can't stand up. He can't even walk. And when he's ready to walk, he walks with his knees and his hands. So I started feeling pity for him. We spent the night. The next day we left the village, but we stopped somewhere to the creek to have a rest or so. I was just asking my mom, I said, what happened with that man? Why is it the man can't stand up? He said, let's reach home first, we'll go and talk it there. And my mother now, when we went in the evening now, as we were resting, I was still asking, what happened with the man? What happened? As a child, you're just too inquisitive to find out. Why is the man can't stand up? Because I'm my first time to see somebody like that. And my mother said, well, according to what the people told me, the same sickness you suffer from, which, affected your one leg, that man too suffer from the same thing, but his whole 2 legs are affected. For him, you can't even stand up. Wow. The only way he can stand up, you have to sit down on his butt. That's it. So I'll carry you there. I want you to see that, man, because every day you're asking me, every day you come in with crying and saying, why you like this? Why you like this? That man, I can send you to buy me, to go get me water. You can stand up, you can walk fast, you can bring things. I want you to accept, your condition. Whatever you go to school, when people laugh at you, if somebody laugh at you, just, avoid them. So then I started, living life like that. So later on, I started sitting on my own and accepting it. But I can remember it went as far as the bullying went as far as to the point. I think I was somewhere around 14 or so. I wanted to commit suicide because it was too much. The society was rejecting me. Only my family were accepting me when I come home or so. But friends, people who you call friends in school, in the classroom or so, clever as I was as well, people hated me for that and things. When I make my 100 grade, especially those days we used to be fighting to make 100 or so. Right. If somebody make 70 or 80, they're angry and they coming to tease me and things. So I went through that, even up to the point that I came to Monrovia Junior High School, Newport, and then graduated from Western. Even at that point, I was still facing, bullying, teasing and things. Up to this level, you won't believe that even in the 21st century, right, that it happened to me recently when I was in Liberia. Even that was even on social media, wherein somebody came and attacked me, but not even attacking me as an individual, but using my disability, to throw it back at me. Each time when he mentioned Marx, he mentioned the other word, cripple, and thing. And I decided to take it to court, and then we ended in court. Actually, that was just last year. Wow. I took it to court. I said, no, this one, let me go and introduce this. If it is a new thing in Liberia, let me go and introduce it, so that tomorrow when somebody do this thing, somebody can go and sue them. So obviously, even journalism. I remember once upon a time, when I graduated from high school, I decided I was so much interested in practicing journalism. I enrolled myself as a vocational training institution, and then I went to do an assignment. I think we went to interview the former one of the former leaders of the MPP, Cyril Allen, and we did the interview that day. And I managed to ask a question that day. You won't believe it, Mr. Sia. We came outside and everybody's standing, and I'll be burning down there. And once they finish with interview, they're waiting for what they call kato, something like bribe or so. Yeah. And this big guy just came behind me and said, You think the profession of journalism is for crippled people? That's the question the guy asked me. I couldn't believe it. I didn't answer. I left. But I'm thank God today that since 2010, I started going back to Liberia. Every time I go back to Liberia for vacation, I will find this brother. We will meet where we normally meet on Kerry Street. And I will make sure that, sorry, somebody trying to call. I will make sure that I find this brother, gain someone I lay $20, gain someone I lay $10. Without even, he didn't know that I left Liberia. Each time he asked me, I say, I in Lofa doing my sugarcane farm. Yeah. From 2010, only 2017, when I went for elections to cover the elections, that day he got to know. And he came to me, he called me on the side and tried to remind what he told me that once upon a time. But I pretended that I was not doing that good because he told me those things. And what he told me, I use it, I utilize it, and I'm making money out of it and giving it to him. So after he apologized, I just moved. But don't matter sure. So yesterday I was told not to talk. I was taken advantage of. Disability was used against me. That because of my disability, I shouldn't talk. If I talk, nobody will listen. And it went on and on. Now I came to this society, the society that accepted me. And I came, boom. I just spoke one time against in our city. In our city, I just spoke one time against the war in Iraq in 2003. From there, every city now they were calling me to go and speak. So I said, oh, I got a voice. People are listening to me. The next time, I think I have to speak for Liberia too, not only for children in Iraq or Iran or so. So I started using my voice now. I said, but you know what? I am going to go, although At the time, I was on Radio LIB. I was actually on the back of Madam Ellen Johnson's leave quite a lot, and I started advocating there and things. So, if you ask the question as to how I got there or why, it's because I want to tell the people that told me yesterday that my voice cannot be heard. Let me tell them that it can be held. I want what I have gone through in life. I don't want the next generation that coming after me to go through in life. Whether they are disabled, whether they refer to them as less fortunate or so. There's no child is less fortunate. No human being is less fortunate. It is the society that creates the avenue for people to be less fortunate. Nobody is born less fortunate. No. No matter how poor your parents are, you're not less. No, I reject that. So I decided to go into advocacy, and boom, the war came. I lived in the war for 10 years before the opportunity came for me to leave. 2009, I went to The Hague to watch Chancellor trial. I went there twice. What I saw there, the witnesses, some of them, and I decided to know. But then after Chancellor was found guilty, they brought him here. He's here serving his sentence or so. And I began asking myself, Chancellor 1 didn't bring this war. Why should Chancellor 1, even though they said it was for a Sierra Leone war, but from the day one they started that trial up to the end, most of the questions were just on Liberia. And if I tell you, Dennis, that man is a reservoir of knowledge in terms of the historical, path of Liberia. Chancellor knows it. I enjoy that time. So I decided to say, well, then, you know what? If it is so, the War and Economic Crimes Code for Liberia, I am going to involve myself into it. We want to make sure that War and Economic Crimes Code for Liberia is established. That's why I decided to jump into it. And then the advocacy now is gone beyond, because rape is there, gender-based violence, education and everything. Now I'm just into it everywhere. As I said here, sometimes 2, 3, 4 calls are coming in. You got to speak for all, you got to talk for also. So these are the trends why I have decided to become an advocate for social justice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Max Mixer. And although I'm sorry for what you went through, but I'm happy that that has strengthened your resolve to talk for other people, and those so that nobody else will be treated the way you were treated. And because of that, I mean, you were talking everything. I read that you applied somewhere in the UK and you didn't get it. You were not called for an interview. So what you did was you changed your name. Instead of Maxim Pacquiao, you changed it to a British sounding, a white sounding name, and boom, you got an interview. That story went like a wildfire because you sued the company and said, hey, you discriminated against me. I said, well, it started in Foya. They were bullying this guy. Now he's talking and he can't stop. Tell me a little bit about that story.
Yeah, interestingly, it's on there, Google. If you Google it, you find everything there. Thank you very much for the research. I mean, you did a brilliant journalism, because this is what I normally do. If I ask somebody for interview, I want to know about them. If I can find them on Google myself, then I ask them questions. Racism exists. Where you are is there. It's still there. That's why the 5 years Obama came, and we say, oh, things change. Nothing changed. It stayed there. Here in the UK, it stay here. You can get discrimination from the job based on the basis of your name. That if they can't pronounce that your name, they see it in the application, they throw it in the bin. And I've gone to it. I saw this job where I have done in the past. I have done how do you call it, customer service job, to work in the call center. And they said that you don't require training, because training will be provided. So I said, okay, but then I stand no advantage, because I have 2 years, 3 years experience in customer service. So I applied for the job, and you can only, go on the let's say they send you a link or on their website, you fill out the form, and then you just send it, and you attach a CV if you have a CV. I had a CV that, got up to four pages. So I tried to cut it down to get half of that page. I think I want to put 2, 3 things there that just to relate to customer service, answering phones and all the stuff. I send this application. Within 2 hours, 3 hours, they put just email. They say, oh, sorry, you can't go to the next stage of of this application process. I sat down in my room, in my house. I said, "What? This is unbelievable. No way." You see, I mean, applicants are not even required to get any experience. You're going to train them. I put in my CV that I've got experience in the area already. That means you're not even going to spend money on me to train me. I will even be able to facilitate the training. So I didn't believe it. I did another application, which I used complete British name, and the two names were British. And I forwarded. I put it in. Look, in less than an hour, I was sent an email to go to the to the next stage that I should. They sent a number that I should call now is a telephone interview. So I said, "Oh, really?" So I said, no. They started bombarding me with the emails calling me for a telephone interview. So I didn't do it. So what I did, I just printed all those emails and my CV and everything. I went to an organization that that people can go to get such a help in terms of discrimination. And when I went there, the moment the fellow heard my story, he said, "But I mean, it been happening here. I know you just coming in the country, but it been happening here. So, but if you want it, we can sue them. We'll go to court, tribunal court, and thing." So we went to employment tribunal, but I didn't hire a lawyer. And let me tell you, why the company is now a small company, Virgin Island, Virgin. So Virgin now they brought 3 lawyers. Then they brought one Nigerian guy. Then I was just sitting there with my godparents that I came across here, and other people. They went to accompany me, and they were just talking blah 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 blah. Even the girls just stood up there. I'm black. I've been with the company for 2-3 years. They haven't. I've not seen anything. I'm in a administration area. When I'm in the employment area. So they sent her there to go and defend it because it was like, the application, the court application was discrimination against name or black or because they were black. However, although we didn't win the case, but because when the media here took it, even another online newspaper from Nigeria took that story and carried it as well. So it went viral. So people started telling me that, writing me and telling me, "Look, thank you very much for this, for speaking out, because this thing is happening." Even Asian people were, contacting me and telling me, thank you for raising the issue up. At least you have raised it up, and tomorrow they will change.
Thank you. And we say thank you too for bringing that. Mr. CA, that is Max Mixer, that's Maxim Pacquiao. He can't stop talking.
No.
Mr. Pacquiao can't stop talking. And from his story, Dennis, it is clear that voice is helping to make the world a much better place. I want to say congratulations to you.
Thank you
for accepting, your disability and seeing that as an opportunity, giving your experiences to say, well, I will be a voice. I don't want anybody to go through what I have gone through. That is a profound decision that you make. And, I am happy you made that decision.
Thank you.
Let us talk about your advocacy. I see myself as an advocate, even though no one knows me except for Dennis Jah. And I'm curious about the War Crime Code advocacy. I know you to be one of the voices for this particular idea of a code to hold perpetrators accountable. Yeah. Given where we are now, are you still hopeful, given your efforts and the efforts of many other advocates and our government more like not paying attention? Are you still hopeful that this code will come one day?
Yes, I am confident that we will have it. That's because based on the continual engagement, especially with stakeholders. If I say stakeholders, international community. When I was caught up there in Liberia, let's say with the COVID, I spent 23 months there. And what I did, I decided to use that time to increase the volume of what I was saying here or what I've been saying on the radio. And we spent nearly about 7 weeks at the front of the Capitol building every Tuesday and Wednesday. Every Tuesday and Wednesday, I take some of the volunteers. We go and stand there just with placard. We want war crimes code. So as they're coming in, the lawmakers, because they can only go to work on Tuesday and Wednesdays, so we'll go there by 8 o'clock in the morning. We're standing there until all of them can go inside. We're showing them our placards, war crimes code, war crimes code. So we spend that time there. And while I was there as well, I had meetings with the then UN country representative. I had meetings with ECOWAS, the U.S. embassy part. It was like, I'm on the road as well, because even as I say right here, every press release is sent out, or we send out under Justice Forum Liberia. We send a copy to the U.S. embassy, the French embassy, and also the German embassy. All right, look, I am very optimistic. I remember in 2018, I collected a few Liberians. I think we were only about 3, because Liberians as well, they kind of are very perplexed where we are. And we went, after we wrote the government of the UK that wanted to see them, I took a copy of the TRC report and went and presented to the former Prime Minister. That was David Cameron. And we asked them that we want you, what you did, the way you helped Sierra Leone to bring the war to an end, to also help them set the TRC up, and people are now behind bars. We want you to help Liberia as well, irrespective that we are not a member of the Commonwealth, but you still have interest in Liberia. So we presented the TRC report, and we left. So, but then due to this pandemic and elections as well, their trouble was here politically. Everything is rested. Right now, I came back. We just wrote them. I approached Boris Johnson's office already, Downing Street number 10. July 26th, we are going back as their guest to go remind them of what we requested for, their help we requested for the establishment of war and economic crimes code, for them to support it. During that time, after we submitted it, they did reply to us and told us that actually they are in support of it. In a way that they even have a trust fund at the ICC. This trust fund is the same trust fund they used to prosecute Taylor. It's the same trust fund they used to help Sierra Leone. And it's the same trust fund that they even used to help the Gambia. Gambia just finished with their TRRC. And today they are on their way as well to, prosecuting many, many leaders. So yes, I'm optimistic. We're not going to give up. We're going to continue to engage, even if we can't have protests now in Monrovia. But diplomatically, we continue to engage our diplomatic friends.
And let me follow up with that, Mark, so that my partner Dennis can come in. In the Sierra Leone case, you know that the leaders of Sierra Leone wanted it. They accepted it. But in Liberia, our political leadership does not want it, isn't it? So no. How is it ever going to come when we are yet to get, say, a president or say a legislature that will vote, to say we want this, to use it as a tool or as a process to bring healing to our country? The question is simple. How does it come when our leaders don't want it?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. The political will is a big challenge for us. And, when President Weah came to power, irrespective that I personally, as an individual, as a concerned citizen, I never supported his presidency. But when he came to power, I accepted it. And one thing that came to my mind as an advocate for calling for a war crimes code, then I said, well, you know what? I think President Weah are going to be somebody that will actually make the war crimes to come to Liberia.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes. Now, we sat down, we wrote, Justice Forum Liberia wrote President Weah under 1 year. We reminded him of this particular TRC also. That even if he can bring the war and economic crimes code, then implement the TRC recommendations. Our letter never received response until once upon a time, with all the nonsense we were causing there, are leaving from here. My colleague Emmanuel Service, we organized a protest. He left from Canada. I left. We went on the ground. 2019 April, we had that march for justice on the 15th of April 2019. Only for President William for me to hear later on when he came from wherever he came from at RI, they were asking him. Then, especially when asking about the war crimes code, then he turned around and asked the journalist, who is also a citizen of Liberia, who perhaps want to see the war and economic crimes code coming to Liberia, do you want war crimes code or you want development? Come on, it made me sick. Yeah. I got sick to the stomach. I can't lie to anybody. Why would anybody being in this position with power in your hand, 250,000 souls, including babies, you yourself yesterday, you got the job from UNICEF because you spoke against the war. That's how UNICEF quickly took you up to be UNICEF ambassador, Google ambassador.
But Max, let me ask you this. Why are you pushing for an war crime code? Is it because you were personally affected? You were relatively young when it war came. So what is your drive?
Let me share a little bit story. I feel the pain because I spent 10 years in the midst of that. I only year I was told when I went to register to have a doctor. And after I explained my story and said, then my doctor looked at me and told me, say, what you said, you at that age, you shouldn't have seen or experienced what you experienced in Liberia. So we will help you. I have to do almost nearly three months. The system here was helping me to de-traumatize me because they knew I was traumatized. Now, I'm doing it because without us establishing a court for people who actually destroy this nation to be punished, it will be something that we will be repeating every day and every time. Personally, yes, I was affected. My uncle in Foyo, they asked him to join, he refused. And what he did, tabe him, boil the water in the drum, pour him inside where he had. I was told. That's how he went. And so many other people. I mean, if you ever follow Kosiak case recently in Finland, you heard witness testimony, very horrible stories.
Yeah.
How would somebody go and kill your husband and cut it into pieces and bring it to you, but you're forced to buy it and cook it with beer, you cook it, you eat. I mean, all of these things happen. So I am saying, look, with all of these atrocities that happen in Liberia, the destruction that took place, this country will never ever move forward if individuals who caused it continue to move about, continue to even handle power and continue to, just sit there and ignore the fact that indeed what happened in Liberia will haunt Liberia for years. So for me, till I die, I'm not going to shut my mouth on this war and economic crimes code. I know what challenges I went through, especially this. I think I shared some personal stories with you. The challenges I went through when I was there recently for the 23 months. And it's huge. They don't want to hear us talk about it. They don't want to hear us talk about corruption. So indeed, my passion for it is because I want the future of the children that are coming after us to be safe.
Thank you.
And generation after generation, without these people getting punishment and all of them dying. Whenever I hear that, a former warlord dies from sickness or so, come on, man, it can hurt me like hell.
Wow. And look at the statement. He said, this country will never, ever move forward if those who are responsible continue to roam about with impunity, and sometimes even they are given power, wealth, and glory. And that's the statement, a very profound statement from Advocate Maxine Pacquiao. Max, as we said, you were in Liberia for almost 2 years. I mean, some of us started thinking, hey, this guy's stranded, but
I was actually, technically I was stranded.
Okay, what was the purpose of that trip, and what, just tell a little bit about the trip and some of the activities because I know you helped almost 2 organizations, right? The Max Pacquiao Educational Foundation and also the Justice Forum of Liberia. So I know why in Liberia you were involved in some activity. Tell me about your trip first, and what were some of those activities that you were engaged in?
Look, brothers, I went to Liberia as usual. December, I go and spend 2 weeks and come back home. And that's just how I left 2019, December. I think I got in Liberia 23rd of December. And my coming back was on the 19th of March, 2020. So, everything, my vacation over, spend time with family and thing. 19 now, I'm set to come. I think 5 days or 4 days to come. Boom, the coronavirus hit. No flight. So the very flight I went with, completely they ignore Liberia completely. They were never coming to they were never going to they never went to Liberia. So from one promise to another, I started counting weeks, then it went to months. Now no, I'm there for 23 months. So after I look at it for some time, I said, okay, 10 people keep changing the trip. And I was already blasting, I was using the media there like a lot. I'll have calling press conferences. I'll have press conference. I will, and thing we address issues. Boom, the rape issue came up, started coming up. I said, every day you hear this. Every day you hear this. I said, no, this is not correct. So from there, I started going to police stations, people, started getting me involved. Then is we are challenged in our country, and what I experienced there. I know we don't have enough time for me to share, but just to take the synopsis of it, the issue of justice, seeking justice in Liberia, is like somebody is about to be thrown in the ocean, and they're afraid to die. That's how it is. I would describe it in Liberia. When the issue of the rape came up, I started getting involved. And once upon a time, the case that got me, one of the cases that touched me was the one, I know I got involved directly with one, but this one was way in Bapolo, I think, I think 5 months or so. And they put the guy on the radio, and they did a recording for him, and the guy started describing what he did to the 5-month-old baby. Using razor blades, for viewers, please, I will share with you as it happened, because it is about our country. And the guy was talking. He took the razor blade because his private part couldn't go in the baby. So the rest now that how it happened. Next one, I got involved, into a 6-year-old girl. The mother cried on me that I got to help. I don't know them. I got involved from one police station to another. People started being arrested. There's a photograph I sent you about a little boy, and his name he's late now. That little boy, my understanding, I call it, at the end of the story, after we got the people arrested, his father and the mother are divorced, or the relationship, was over, and they had 3 children. The boy who was 11 at the time, Jeremy was 11. He was the oldest. And then the mother started told the message, but then let Jeremy stay with you. Let me carry the 2 to my mother in Grand Bassa, and she left. While she was there, she was sending money, according to her, every time, 2 mobile money to her, so that the husband can look after the boy. The husband now brought somebody in the house who became the stepmother of this boy. Fast forward, the boy vanished in the community. People don't see him. So people ask him, when the people ask, they say, oh, he's not feeling well, we're sending him to the village for treatment. Not knowing the boy was in the house, brothers. This boy was in the house for 6 months. No food, no water. Until once upon a time, perhaps it was a God called a woman. One woman was passing by, in our African tradition, when you and say hello, you hang on somebody's door, you're talking. So as she was talking to the lady sitting inside, her friend, she said she saw something like, something coming from another room showing head, but she couldn't tell what was it. So she left. When she left, she went into the community chair. They said, as I stopped that woman to speak to her. I saw something coming to the coming from the other room. I didn't see it too good, but it's not human being. It's not looking at the animal. It's looking for something, looking at something. So the community people came, a community chairman told some people they came. They forcibly went in the house. While they were in that process, the guy came from fishing because he's a fisherman. So they told him, I said, go and watch this ball here. In fact, when they enter, as they were looking for the ball, she have laid the ball flat because the ball doesn't have no life in him again. And then they put zinc on top of him so that the people can see. The people came and they started moving things and they saw the ball. They put the ball aside and they told the father, say, bathe him so we can take him to hospital. They started bathing him, but then they weren't giving water. The mouth not opening. They forced the mouth. When they tried to open, so plastic, small plastic and, mattress and things. I think something you're just trying to eat that because you're not getting food. They clean him up and then decided to take him to ERW because I just around there myself live. And then by the time they got there, Jeremy died. So I got involved in that case. I said, no, they want the police.
Max, why? Was he like sick or, why was he doing it? Did they say?
Up to now we don't know, but thank God at least we end up they end up being arrested. So I told the police, I said this case, because it was at the zone level, this case got to move from here and go to Central. Luckily the mother came the next day with the brother, and then I started, got their detail and I started helping them at least for transportation to go and come, because one of the things is really challenging over there when you have a case and you don't have transportation. That means your case, you no justice for you to even go to that police station. So we managed. We took the case from there. Went to Central. I remember once upon a time when I went to Central, the homicide division, we sat down. I didn't know this guy personally. Then I have not seen not the guy, the woman, the mother, particularly the stepmother. Now I know she was pregnant. So when we sat down that day, they was there. So I asked the chief that was there, so-called chief. I said, you have prisoners here. These people, the crime they committed, they shouldn't be sitting here with our handcuff. Why should they sit down here like, they are normal visitor and thing? I said, you're not doing your job properly. This is wrong. So I blasted at them. Before they put a cuff on them, then they took them downstairs to court Lezoon. They got the Lezoon office there. That office is responsible to carry the case to court. Then we went to court. Then they send them to South Beach. The court has not even called to a hearing. Where the problem is now, I'm having zero problem. Even though the chief judge is about to go, he himself, I got zero problem for him. So about him. So right now they are in jail. And one of the pictures I sent you again. This one, the girl was 7 months pregnant. That one part, I was in the UK now in January when the people contacted me for that case. 7 months pregnant. She normally they get goods and give it to people, and somebody can be paying small. They call it pay in Liberia.
Yeah.
She have done it, and this guy took the goods, doesn't want to pay. On this occasion, she gone to get the money. She hungry. She want to go to the hospital. She want to do that because she says she's young. Her boyfriend young, not working. They guys started fighting the woman, kicked the woman to the stomach. The water burst, as we would say in Liberia. Took the woman to the hospital. They tried to deliver the babies now. She didn't even know. She didn't even know that she was pregnant with twins. When they delivered the babies, all of them dead.
Wow.
The boyfriend got behind me. Somebody gave him a number. Said, Brother Mas, you got to help us. You got to speak for us also, because the man who did it, the parent get money. So we don't even have money to even go to police station or so. I got in that. So from there, I got behind the justice minister. I got behind the gender minister, communicated with them quickly, forward them the pictures. So the next day, at least, they were able to, the justice minister was able to release people. They went and caught the guy, took him to West Point Court, because they live in the Doe community, and the magisterial court for Doe community is in West Point. So he was also arrested and into his red behind bar, and a lot of stuff that going on there in terms
Max,
of what
if those things happen, let's say, how do the police get involved? Is it somebody like Max have to physically go to the police, or you can call the police to come there and arrest the person? what normally happens there when a crime
Okay.
is committed?
Okay. What I saw there is the first point of stop is at the police depot in your community or so. So you take your report there and your complaint there. But then this is where the problem is now. And Marcel investigated that, and it made me to even use money that people were sending for me to live on while I was stranded there to buy stationaries, and when it donated to 2 depots, and even donated stationery to Central Police itself. You go in there to register a case. Oh my! For example, somebody tampered with my daughter last night. I came to register the case. Now they're telling you they don't have stationaries, no paper. You must buy paper. They don't have ink pen. You should buy ink pen. Now, I heard these stories and I went investigating on my own, and I realized that indeed it is true to at least 3 depots. I say if it is happening right here in Moserado County, that station, depots that they do not have stationaries, then what's about outside here? This is sad. And so, and I told them, like other people that I met now, including some government officials, the first place that justice will start is at that point when you go to the depot to register that case. The moment they tell you, go buy paper and you don't have money, you go home, you're not coming back again. So justice has been denied right there. But normally, as far as it stands, it's supposed to start from the depot. If that case is supposed to be referred to from that depot to Central before it can go anywhere, they send it to Central. If the case that can be handled there, they will handle it there. If in your area the magistrate court is there and that particular depot can actually handle that case and then transfer it to the magistrate court, then they can transfer it to magistrate court. If it is anything that has to do with something like rape, like those cases I mentioned about, is above them, so they will send it to Central, because homicide, in some of the cases, homicide will be involved as well. So forensic investigators will be involved, so they have to send it to Central. So that's how it works.
Mr. C, you look out of words.
Dennis, I'm out of words, and you got that right. But let me ask.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure the stationery you mentioned might be the only thing that might be required, or the police there can ask for.
Yes.
Besides that, is there anything they ask for when one shows up at the police depot to register a case?
I know what you're talking about. Yes, in a Liberian way, they want small thing. The people hungry. And sometimes they tell you, we can go to that place, but they want to buy here, but no gas inside. Put gas inside, then we can go. If the arrest will go and arrest the person, you tell me now, this person walked maybe about 30 minutes. They don't even have $10 tobacco water on their way coming, and they coming to register a case. They want to seek justice. And you're telling them, you got to pay this, buy gas. But the buy gas thing, that one part, I can't even talk, is that one a small case there from that social level. What's about you calling, you're calling for help midnight, maybe your wife is pregnant or so, and you call for help, and they're telling you, say, the ambulance not get gas inside. If you get gas, we can come. We can manage to come, and when you put the gas inside. So they would ask for a lot of things. And this is why, that is that when before they had this before we had the protest against gender-based violence and rape, a person sat as a father. I wrote President George Weah in July of 2020. I said, Mr. President, the things that are happening, as a father, you need to come and you need to speak to your people about it. Our children are being killed through the rape. We can't hear any words from you. Mr. President, it's about time for you to speak. I still get a letter. I'll forward it to you. It was published. I delivered the letter, myself delivered the letter to the executive mansion. That letter was even read on radio stations there. What I said in our letter In 2 weeks, if you don't come popularly to speak to the grandmothers and grandfathers of this land, we will call people in the street to cry out to you and your government and to cry out to the international community that rape is destroying Liberia. The president didn't do it. You know what he did? They sent a press release and they published it in the paper. Martin way in Grand Judea that her granddaughter was tampered with. Will she see that as something that the leader is speaking to her? No.
And
so
that was going to be my next question as someone who followed these things.
Yeah.
Who is the guy that you can speak to say this is happening? This is someone has been violated. We presented the case. They want this, they want that. Is there someone who you can talk to that will take action so that people can have justice?
Well, as an individual, as me, I mean, look, I use the office of Nathaniel McGill. I've used the office several times of the gender minister Tar. I use the office of the justice Minister Dean, and I've always been using the office of the Liberian National Police, especially through the chief spokesman, Moses Carter. Almost all of the cases, I will hint him on it. If I'm the first that get the hint, I'll hint him on it. But that's me. It's because why? My voice is up there. But what's up with the people that are way down
these
there?
People, you actually contacting these people. Were their actions taken? Let's say the gender minister.
On few occasions. But I must give credit to the assistant minister for children affairs. Her name is Memuna Kah. It's only one time through the case of Jeremy Brown that I got connected with her. And from that day, this woman, she's a young woman, anytime you call her on the case, she's there. But the minister proper, no, forget it. But normally they say, oh, my assistant is there, my assistant is there. So, but Minister Dean as well, I don't know whether he actually can apply the same on anybody that contact him. But for me, anytime I'm saying text about a case, he will actually act upon it. And that happened in the case when I was in Liberia, the first one. You know, there was a video that was online of this Liberian guy, ageable man, who forced I think a 6-year-old to have oral sex. I think you saw that video. I don't know when I know you saw it. That video, when I saw that video, I cried. Somebody sent it to me 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't sleep again. So what I did, I forwarded the video to the minister, the justice minister. And this guy, another small position he's holding in the government, they call him director for cyber crime. Yeah, I mean he was not the one now. He's the one that posted the video.
Okay.
But then when he posted the video, he warned the person that actually did the act, that were committing the act. It's something like, you know, if you say any more, maybe they were talking off the record, the any more nonsense you do, I'm going to show your face. So to me, it told me that, well, he was the one that did the recording set while the man was asking the little girl to perform oral sex on him. So I got into that.
Little girl, you actually mean baby because it's like 6 or
6 years old, 6 years old adult, and giving oral sex right on the video. Only the girl face they were showing. So I got into that case. I told the minister, I said, Honorable Minister, look at this. This video alone can tarnish the whole Republic of Liberia reputation, including your office as the justice minister. You got to stand in the case. Anyway, thank God. Fast forward, you know, I bombarded them good, and the gender minister by 8 o'clock, because at least 2 people were in America who got in touch with me, and they started giving me leads. Contact the full name of the guy who shared the video, the contact number, the address. Before 7 o'clock, I was able to forward this information, and by 8 o'clock, the guy was arrested. But then unfortunately,
What
This is
happened
the
next?
guy. This is the guy. This guy. He's confidant of the president. He wouldn't have getting that job, sir, if he's not a confidant of the president. So I think just about 2-3 weeks, the next thing I learned that the man was back on his job.
Wow.
So that case, it just died like that. I was even behind the government through the gender justice ministry that let us look for this child. This child is vulnerable to these people now.
Yeah.
So let's look for the child and give the child and the parent protection. In the Western world, this child will be protected by the state. That community that the child that was living in, they would take that child from there. Because on the video you can see the little girl face, clear.
And Max, thank you for highlighting that. And it's good that you were involved with the case and you are saying it, because sometimes when others hear these things and say them, other people don't believe it. The question I want to ask now, based on the story you just told, somebody show up to a police depot, want to report a case and say, hey, we don't have papers here to, type the case to file.
Yeah.
And we also hear similar stories that when people even go to the court, like the moral court this, that same thing. I'm just curious here. Mm-hmm. That alone, how are citizens responding to that? How are they reacting to that? What is it causing them to do, given that this is all they have to go through, and which will require money? In most instances, they don't have the money. So why are they doing it? Why are they resorting to?
It's sad, especially you just go. Sometimes I can just go to that depot and just sit there, just to, especially the one that close to me, by EW there, just to observe and to ask people and think. Citizens are not happy. And once, like I said, that first stop where you wake up and you say you're going to seek justice is where you are encouraged that justice it will be coming. But once you go there and the first thing that comes out is request for money. Request. How will you ask anybody? Where on earth anybody will ask somebody who is victimized, going to register a case, going to seek help from the state, and the state is asking them, we do not have stationery. You got to provide stationery also. So in a nutshell, I think the citizens have resolved as well. People don't bother to chase justice anymore. Mm-hmm. I just explained to you about Lloyd and the girlfriend story, 2 babies. And at the beginning, they just told me, say, oh, brother Max, I don't think we'll go that side. I didn't get transportation. The first day, I said, go to the station and register it. We didn't get transportation. They get sick. By the time they take out the baby, the 2 babies, their babies, they just sent us home. We don't even get money to buy medication. I'm sitting down right here. I'm thinking, what can I do for the young people? And I just told the boy, I said, no, please, justice will come. I'm way here, but I will make sure that guy will be caught and he will face the full weight of the law. And thank God that he was caught and he behind bars today. So obviously people want justice, but the very people that are supposed to give them justice are denying them justice.
Thank you so very much, folks in cyberspace. You are watching Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony Sear, co-hosting with my partner Dennis Jha. We are in conversation with Mr. Mark Mixer. He's an advocate. He has been in Liberia for almost 2 years now. He went to see family. COVID got in the way, and that which was somehow unfortunate became a blessing for many Liberians that he stood up for, and something we are grateful to Mark. And he is telling the stories that you hear all the time, and sometimes you don't want to believe. You are hearing it today. Yeah. You're hearing these stories today from an eyewitness, somebody who was there and involved with the heartbreaking stories. Dennis?
Mr. Mixer, all is not lost. And there are people in Liberia who recognize some of the things that you were doing. As a result, 2 things happened to you while in Liberia. Besides all the work that you're doing, you were, and I read that They name you, they confer upon you Ambassador Maxine Bakio. And also, you were petitioned to run. Let's talk about those two things quickly. And maybe you can respond to the people who petition you right here on FOL.
I think people will be too happy that at least they will give you really good credit. Yes, indeed. While I was there, in fact, in my whole life, I remember the first recognition I received after spending 2 years in this country was from the city and county of the city I'm in. And it was due to my involvement into the community, even though I just came while volunteering for different organizations and things. So I was given Achievers Awards. That was the first certificate ever. Even as I speak to you right here, last night somebody insulted me because I am advocating for a change. That one happening every day. And when I went on this trip and I started doing what I was doing there, because every day I'll be on the radio, I'll be this place, I'll be that place. I received 3 different recognitions. One was all the way in Bombay. And at that time, Dennis, I told you I broke my leg while I was there. My good leg got broken.
Oh,
So
wow.
July, I was lying in bed. The young people in Bombay County, about 3 organizations, they say, oh, Big brother, uncle, we've been following you quite a lot. We appreciate what you're doing for us, for Liberia. We want to honor you and appreciate you. I didn't go. I think it was Snow and myself that they actually called for that honor. There in the certificate, they appreciated me that because the young people there are they advocating against drug use in Liberia. But I have been into it as well. So they recognize me and say, well, based upon what you've been doing to raise the profile of drug use in Liberia, we want to recognize you for that. We want to appreciate you. And we want to confer an ambassadorial title on you, ambassador for fighting illicit drugs in Liberia. Then another one was in Pinsville City, in my own city. They called me as well, the Pinsville intellectual guys. They also awarded me, they gave me a certificate appreciating me for my level of advocacy. And then November last year, before I could come, and some young people in my own district, District 6, Moserati County in Pinsville, they also called me and they honored me. They put beautiful, very, very beautiful African shirt and heart on me and appreciated me. But then at the end of their statement of appreciation, and giving me the certificate, then they handed me over and read a petition statement that based on what they have seen as my level of advocacy, they feel that, yes, I should leave the advocating out from the community level and go and advocate for them in the House that comes 2023 for me to contest. However, Dennis, if I may disappoint you, disappoint FOL on this show. I told the same thing I told them. I want to repeat it here. I told them that actually I appreciate them. I honor them as well. But as far as the petitioning is concerned, I was going to think about it. I'm going to consult my family and friends. I'm going to pray about it. I will come back to you guys. I was speaking to them now. I'll come back to you guys and respond. Whether it will be a yes or no, by that time, once I come back and call you guys, I will provide you either a yes or no answer. So as I speak right now, I'm still doing consultation and I'm still praying about it as well. Because the consultation as well, this is a political, stuff. One person, you can't do it. So even if whatever it is, I will need my brother Dennis' own advice. What do you think? This is the question. So these are the questions I'm asking most family people and friends. What do you think? Tell me honestly and things. So I'm still doing that particular consultation. So at the moment, I do not have a yes. I do not have a no.
Thank you so much. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to read some comments and then take calls from our viewers And our viewers, the number to call is on the screen there, 605-313-6004. The code is 791403#. And just in case you are around and you call that number and they charge you 1 cent per minute, please don't hang up. Pay 1 cent per minute and make your contribution. If that 1 cent per minute is too heavy for you, please take that and send us the bill. We're going to cash app you, whether that's 21 cents or 40 cents for the time we're going to do that. Not that we have money, but we want you to be a part of this. So please, right now, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is our special edition. Mr. Maxine Pacquiao, aka Max K Mixer, is our guest. He's telling us about his experience in Liberia. And wow, the comments we are getting, some people say, this man spoiled my day. Because to have an eyewitness account of this gruesome act going on in Liberia is just too heavy for a lot of people. We're going to take this break and be right back.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Ja.
Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. Max, before I bring in the question, the Max Pacquiao Foundation, through that you authored 2 books for our schools.
Yeah.
Congratulations. How the books are doing?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, you know, the criticism I do in my advocacy is constructive criticism. If I tell you don't do this, I will tell you what you should do. If I tell you that what you did was wrong, I will tell you this is what you should have done. Then at least I'm helping you. But I will not just criticize you and leave it. You know, when Mark Ellen called education the mess in Liberia, I was sitting way here. I felt hurt. I felt angry. And that time I have just where I have finished my my first degree. I was just working and things. Then is this particular statement. It made me to go back and take student loan and went back to university and read education. And thinking I having my country at heart. I said I want to go back home and contribute. And I also gave myself a task because it was a part-time degree I was doing for 2 years. I said before I finished, I will make sure I will write a book, a textbook for Liberia. And exactly so I did. I started collecting the material, fitting in between work, between study, research, and writing this book. So I decided, I was thinking about what to write on for our children to read. And my mind went on the way police and public relations is so bad. A civilian can, or taxi driver, whether somebody driving a private car or so long they know who they are, they can grab a policeman or policewoman by the shirt at any time at will. And I know we experienced that before the war or just during the war or so. So I said, well, I started thinking, I said, well, then, what I'm going to do is write a book about police and policing and put most of those stuff inside so that our children that are coming up, when they read this book, even to cross the road as well, wherein they can cross the road anywhere, which I have been observing many, many times. I will put everything inside so that our children can know about police and policing. They can know what to do when they reach to that road to cross it, when they go in the park to play, what to be aware of, how to spot bad people, somebody that will just call them for candy, and what to do to resist or so the person can take them away. I wrote that book. Police officers are friends, not strangers. I took this book back home. I went and saw the idea. That time Mark Ellen was still there. To the education minister, former education minister. I met him, shared the idea with him. He said it was good. He told me to get the book to the, it was in manuscript. I have not launched it. He said, give it to the curriculum department. I gave it to them. It stayed with them for about 4 weeks. They gave it to me and they said, oh yes, this book will be good for our children. I came back to the UK. I printed the book. I went back to go launch this book here. I contacted the former police chief, Gregory Coleman. Gregory Coleman called me. We sat down in your office. I gave him the book. You read it? He said, my man, what? They want here. I mean, I don't even know how to praise you. This book will help even us as police, that we can even invest in it and we can share it to the children there. So he actually fell in love immediately with the book. From there, he in fact paid a check for me to launch this book at the Monrovia City Hall. Then it's up to the point now that this government came to power, went back to Liberia, back and forth. I was behind them, even up to now. I'm still behind them. I'm using the media again to talk to them, to insert this book in the school curriculum. I sat down with this current minister as well, Minister Sonny. I told him, I said, Minister, this book here, I wrote this book here, but I have decided to donate this book to Liberia. In a way, I have set up a charity known as the Max Parker Educational Foundation. I want this, I'm going to be writing more books, but I want the sale of this book will open a bank account, it will go in there. Whenever, every sale of every money that will be raised from this, from the sale of this particular textbook, it will go in the account. What I want to do is to go from village to village, town to town, and look for children with disability that their parents don't want to send to school because they feel that person with disability cannot be a breadwinner tomorrow, and begin to pay their school fees even up to high school or college level in the future. So please put this book in the curriculum, in the system, so that every school can buy it or can tell their parents to buy them. Then it just went in deaf ear. I went to UNICEF Liberia. I sold my idea to them. The fellow told me, maybe we could do it this way. Talk to your education ministry. If they incite it in the curriculum, we can either buy your copyright, then we will print it and distribute free, or we do it 50-50. I went back to Minister Sonny. Then it's up to this point. President Weah left and came to France. That first trip, I left London, I went there. I was the first person that spoke. After he spoke and he started encouraging us that we should go back to Liberia, or those who are in the diaspora, to help. I took the book, I gave it to him. I said, President Weah, I'm ready to come home. I'm into education. This is the first contribution I have made for Liberia. But this book here, I've been fighting hard. It's not going in the system. Please, this is your own copy, so that when you go talk to your education minister, he already knows about this book here. He called this boy, our own young boy, Sego Kalasco. My man, you know the better. Oh yeah. He and myself were talking. We've been friends a long time. They said, when we reach, please make sure we talk to. We call him and we talk to him. From the day they left Paris to now, I never got that call. The boy ended up blocking me on social media. Let me talk it on this platform here. Sego Kalasco ended up blocking me because I was asking him, my man, you can't check on the paper. When I went, I will get a call now. That book, it didn't come until I decided to write the second one on corruption. The second one title is Corruption, My Enemy Now, My Enemy Forever. And the two books, I am targeting only elementary level, because that's where the problem is. If we want to fight corruption, we have to go down to the class from first grade and tell the children the truth about corruption, what corruption can do to them and what corruption can do to the country. So those two books up to now, even the second one, they qualified it as well, the Ministry of Education. But to put the books in the curriculum now is there where the problem is. And then Dennis, shortly, when I was invited to go speak to University of Liberia by Student Union, after I finished, I talked everything about the book as well. Somebody asked me a question and said, but Pedro Max, do you know about 10% in Liberia? I said, no. What do you mean? I said, okay, whoever to that education ministry you're dealing with, just tell them each book, they get that 10% there. They'll put this book in the system just now. So I said, oh, really? For me to go and bribe somebody for this, that I took my time to write and to give it to Liberia almost free? I will not do that. So then up to now, I just have them kept. Maybe I will keep them. If I don't live in the next, maybe 20 years or 10 years or so, if I'm not here and the books are already here. My parents, whichever government that will come to power that will love education, maybe my family or my children will make sure that indeed these books are utilized.
Thank you. Let's open our phone lines now and bring in our first caller. And that caller is Mr. Kesely Double. Mr. Double, you're live.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. John. And thank you, Mike in studio there. I want to say thank you very much for all that he's done. I listened to him lengthily. He spoke on almost everything. But where I want to set my point is the one that really had to do with the war and economic council that he was focusing on. So, John, you and I have listened to almost every international diplomat who spoke in Liberia. They've always told us that only Liberians ourselves can solve our problems. They always say that. When the foreign secretary, when she spoke on all the corruption issues, he said, Liberian. The same thing with the ambassador, when he spoke on everything, he said, only Liberian. So we can beg these people from town to town. We can do all the begging we do. We can talk to them. They are not coming to force us. And because our policy makers who are in government are not willing to do it, I think we can force them to do it. And the only weapon we got to our effect is protest. Besides protest, which is our constitutional right, we got no other weapon we can use. We're not going to win with the first war. We just have to protest and keep putting the pressure on them until they can bring the war in economic terms. But if we say we will just sit quietly and think that people who are in office will be able to bring the war in economic council, I strongly doubt if they will do it because they are not even listening to it. Seriously.
So Mr. Double, when you say protest, you mean protest in Liberia or at the USM or at the State Department?
In Liberia, everywhere Liberians are.
Thank you.
Everywhere. Here in Liberia and everywhere we just protest. So we create an environment for them. When the environment is created for them, I'm sure they will be able to give attention to it. Other than that, we will just keep saying it like this and they won't even listen to us.
Kesely, can we take that protest to political party headquarters too?
Say that again?
You say, can we take the protest to political party headquarters too, so that they do something too and join the...
Of course, I say everywhere. I am saying everywhere.
Thank you.
Yes, they're everywhere. Yes.
Thank you. Let me bring in Mr. Evans Morris. Evans, you're live. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. I just want to thank your guest tonight for his advocacy. It's very inspiring. I really appreciate his work. Quickly, I want to say, this is a little bit intertwined, but I think one of the things in the TRC report is to heal our land. We have our traditional people, we have churches and, mosques and people of religious backgrounds to really heal our land. There's a lot of evil over our country, Mr. John. A lot of evil. Spiritual things that's happening that we don't see in the physical world that's translating into physical actions that's taking place. I left Liberia when I was 10 years old. I'm 30 years old now. I want to ask you yourself, when you were younger during those days, were these kind of behavior prevalent in our country before the war time? So I just want to ask that quick question and then I'll get up the line. Thank you again.
Right. Thank you. And let me respond to you because those things happen. The rate at which they are happening now is more. And I believe personally that is because the population growth, that's one. We are, because of social media and the advancement in technology, so we are hearing about these things more than ever before. I think they existed before, they are existing now, but the rate at which they are occurring, maybe because we are hearing about them more. And again, on top of that, the war has really exacerbated things. There's a lot of people are sick, Max, let me let you respond to these two callers.
Well, look, I've had the experience with protest, but I will appreciate my brother for his recommendation. But I can tell anybody now, the composition of the House, both the lower house and the upper house, the executive, under this government, if they say by the will of the people themselves want the War and Economic Crimes Code, but the government does not want it. Let us say I was in Liberia. I remember I went to visit a lawmaker, and I was sitting in his office, and who I saw later coming in, somebody that their name is on the travel ban list. And who is this person? The person is the economic advisor to the president. And the stubbornness, let me use the word stubbornness, of President George Weah to listen to us about this war and economic crimes court. It's not coming from himself. He did a big mistake by giving these guys jobs. There are 3 people in his office who are advising him. They are on the travel ban list. They can go to America. They can come to the United Kingdom. They can go to Canada. Then when you go look at the lower house,
Emmanuel Shaw.
Emmanuel is there. Chad Bright is there. These are guys that are running the government. The President Weah can't say anything about it. Then, unfortunately, again for the Liberians as well, they went and rewarded warlords and voted them and gave them 6 years, 9 years in power to be their lawmakers. Why would anybody be in a sound mind to say that indeed the people that destroyed your country yesterday, that when you give them power, tomorrow they will listen to you when you're talking? And we're all experiencing what's going on in our country.
Yeah,
the guys the one that country that have the government on hand. They go to work only on Tuesday. You and myself, the country we're in, from Monday to Friday, our lawmakers are at work. Even right now, you put some television on, you will see some communities they're working. Our people work for 2 days, and still, what we want, they can't do it for us. So, protests, and my experience with the last protest, what I saw there, even though we wrote the government through the minister of justice seeking permission, something that I shouldn't have done. We didn't even mention their permission. We only told them that we are going to meet, we are going to assemble against rape and gender-based violence at the YMCA. We only want you to provide us security. If I've had protests here at least twice against immigration, I want to tell police, come and give us security. Only in Liberia, they say you have to go and apply for permission and things. So it's half a protest now to work, because these guys, they don't even take protest again to be anything.
Right, they control everything. Let's get to a few comments here. Ashmin Famula say, good evening, family. Don Tio, the great Max K mixer. Oh, Priscilla said, I know the British accent. You see, you try to challenge my British accent. Priscilla also said, I'm so sorry you had to go through all of that, Max, and that you continue to go through such horrible experience. Maya Love Johnson is watching from her comfort zone, continues speaking for disability. Maya continues. Priscilla, our world is so cruel. Then ableism is perpetrated through people who chose to be ignorant. Hamilton Zilli, what an impressive story that needs to be retold to our closed, and exclusive society. Your story could be a spark of fire that will revolutionize our unwholesome society. Amon Songo, Maxine Pakio is a smart guy. He was my schoolmate in junior high at Foya Community. He's always been outspoken and vocal, even at the junior high level.
Thank you.
Max is still talking.
Thank you.
Evans Morris, I will say this, my name has opened a lot of doors for me here in America. Whenever I put it in an application for a job, I get an interview. My name isn't ethnically black, so maybe that helps. So that one we were talking about your name when you filed that suit. JC First Riggs, I understand some of what you went through because I stuttered as a child. I was teased by the other children, which led to many fights. Thank God you didn't give up. Oh, Evans also right. Nathaniel McGill, a man who is closely associated with the NPP, and a lot of people who were involved in war crimes is the reason President Weah is being advised against the War and Economic Crimes Code. And you went further and named more people. Hamilton also writes, you cannot find Mr. Justice in Liberia, even if you took a lamb to research for him all day or in a day. Dr. Batom Kula, are these issues that the legislative branch should be dealing with? This is what policy makers solve.
Yeah.
Richie Bala, the propaganda of the Civil War was that the crowns were the problem. So about 80% of Liberians decided that they be exterminated. Now it is believed that the War Crimes Code may implicate some of the advocates based on their role during the war. I don't agree with that statement, but I will let Max respond later on. Agnes said, oh my God, what has happened to our Liberian people? They have become so wicked. God forgive us. Amos Songa said, what's your political ambition in Liberia, Max, and what do you hope to achieve that will benefit the people if you do succeed? When last did you visit Foya Community High? Let me let you respond to that before I even continue.
Let me start with the last one. I was there 2020. I was there 2021. I crossed. In fact, my younger brother died, and I went there to bury in 2021. I went all the way to Solomon, across Guinea, came back, and I went and spoke to 3 different schools in Foya, and I even called the young people that I wanted to speak to them to the Tamatilo County Hall. They came there, and I addressed them, and I was actually motivated them, and I also tried to tell them to be careful how they blame the politics in Foya, particularly because the young people there today are being used by politicians, and Foya is hugely divided. So I told them my stories as well, especially the young ones I visited to their schools, and I talked to them. So I've been to Foya. I'm in touch. Even as I said here, even today, I was talking to my sister. It's a nurse at Foya Boma, and so every day I'm on top of things as far as Foya is concerned. On the issue of okay, I think somebody asked of the War Crimes Code. Look, let us agree that, you know, I know Mr. Shea say the political will will bring War and Economic Crimes Code for Liberia. That is the political will of those that we are electing, and this is why, for me, even before I left, I appeared on about 2-3 different radio stations. I was encouraging the Liberian people that, look, all of them that you know that they fought war, and you know they're in the house as a representative, as a senator, you please kick them out. And all of those that you know that they are in the same shoes, but then they want to come in, you should reject them. And I will continue to preach this message. I am telling you, Dennis, Liberia, I feel sorry for our children that are growing up in our society. These guys, they have no plan for any child in our country, only themselves. Why would anybody hate me because I have gone to stand in front of the Capitol building with a sign, with a poster that written on it, I want War Crimes Code? Why would anybody be against me for that? That's nonsense. And for me, I want them to be out. So and for some of you that stay sitting on the fence, we stay acknowledging you as well. Please come on board. If we organize a protest, whether we go into the UN or so, please pay your way and come. Those 250,000 souls, they are also still crying for justice. When will you wake up? And one of my icons, the late Desmond Tutu, when I met him face to face on his training, on his Ubuntu training that I attended here some years back in the UK, I asked him a question about the TRC, and I wanted to compare that of the South Africa and Liberia. And the old man only told me, may his soul rest in peace, Max, the training you are doing today as a young man, this is a training that's going to give you the voice that will give you the ability for you to push for it. That TRC let's say the recommendation in that TRC, it need to be fulfilled before your country will move forward. And I believe it. And then he told me, and one of the quotes I really love, he told me that day, he repeated that quote, the quote in front of us. He said, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have taken the side of the oppressor. And I'm not going to stay there to do that anymore. Yesterday, personally, I was oppressed. I share the story here. And many Marxists like me are being oppressed in Liberia. I am not going to shut up my mouth again. And if I tell you, Dennis, majority of them over there, some of them, I met them in the supermarket and I told them the truth. I'm talking about our government official. Some of them I was standing face to face. I said, the way you're handling the government, our people, is not correct. You need to change. I have met a lot of them, and I don't have it. The same way I will say on the net, I will meet you face to face and tell you.
Evan Morris said, this show is too heavy for me tonight, guys. Too heavy. And Cassell Pikin said, this brother just messed my whole day up. I'm so done with this guy called Josh Weir. Priscilla Quia, look at the extent to which you got involved, yet the perpetrator went with impunity. How much more about the ordinary people who cannot text a minister to act, who gives them justice? And that is very, very sad. Paul Koemini is watching. Thank you, Paul, for watching. Sandra Yakun, oh, Liberia, this is so sad. Priscilla, wow, Max, we are blessed as a people to have people like you, Dennis, in your life as Liberian. Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you.
Milfy Deco say, I think there's a problem with the phone line everywhere. I can't hear the show via the phone. Please check it.
Dennis, check it. What I read some comments here. This one is Joseph Mars getting into the political arena with diminish or probably end what I see as your earthly calling, because our political body is where our cultural decency is compromised and so daily to higher bidders.
Okay.
Yeah, you please respond to that one. That is a key one there.
Yeah, Joseph Coco. Look, I have no political ambition. This is why I didn't even respond to them, or I haven't responded to them yet. But in comparison, where you are, if you are in the state of Canada and where I am, actually the real advocates that can put a stamp for a change are those that we elect to go as congressmen and women here in the House of Parliament. We go through them to make changes that will benefit all of us in the UK here. So the two advocates, I can go to the police station, I can go escort somebody to the court, and they end up maybe grabbing the perpetrator and they are in jail. I feel that I have done my part. But if I want to change the policy and say, well, you know why? Like what we're just trying now to start pushing to ban the sale and the smoking of shisha pipes in Liberia, which is destroying our young women. I can advocate and call for it. The people that can actually put a stamp on it will be a lawmaker.
Yeah.
So my advocacy, if I push it, it goes up to them. If they want to accept it, similar to the War Crimes Code, they have to stamp it. If they don't stamp it, so I know that they are there as well as advocates, except in Liberia, they don't even regard themselves as advocates. But I want the Liberian people to know that your true advocates are those that you elect, you call lawmakers. The congressmen, the congresswomen, the members of parliament, they are advocates because they sit there and talk on every time, especially here when they're addressing the prime minister or so, they always say, my constituents say this, my constituents told me this. In Liberia, you don't hear that. That language, that vocabulary is not in their mouth.
Yeah.
So, in as much as that's how you think that indeed the job I'm doing, if I go in the house, if I accept it and go in the house, then it's going to diminish. I think I think there will be more power for me to say, well, the thing happened yesterday, and another constituent bringing the same thing with me. I'll be in a place that War Crimes Code, document can for me to sign. I will not sign it. I will be pushing it. Maybe Prince John and myself or whosoever in the house Joe Bully and myself will not even be seen eye to eye.
Maybe you guys will be throwing blow there too. We see people throwing blow.
No, yeah. I mean, intelligently, you know me, man. I mean, from our school of thought, those guys. For me, I can only deal with it. I can only ask them one question. Sometimes they don't even answer. They just walk away. And I always what I can do. So, I'm thinking about it. Even you, Joseph, you can help me to let me pass through you now to help me to pray and let God give me direction. If between 9 October, when I'm getting back to the people, if that yes, let God tell me yes. If I no, let me go tell the people no and continue.
Dennis, you are muted then.
It's Hamilton Zilli say, I think the opportunity is about to present itself again in 2023. Let's make sure to place people who believe in championing the idea of war and economic crimes court. William Johnson Jr. say, I appreciate all those that are on the platform this evening. Priscilla, wow, people say other people are sitting overseas and don't want to return home to contribute. Listen to these kinds of experiences Max is sharing here. Lord. So Max, Mr. C, we are about to draw down the curtains. Have any other question for Max before we get his closing comment?
Yeah, this will be my final question, and it's in the same direction of representation, right?
Okay.
Max, then let's read that one first, and I can ask.
Yeah, he said, please remain an advocate and not a representative. You will not achieve your goal. I refuse that, but let Max respond quickly.
And Max, let me throw in mine because it's on the same issue there, which is now that the lawmakers who have been elected, in your own words, like you said it right, they have not been able to put a stamp on it. Those of us who believe that the war crime code is needed, we have to find a way to make it happen. The way it happens is when the legislature put a stamp on it.
Yeah.
Will you encourage, will it be a good idea, instead of advocates just begging politicians and crying and they're not listening, that advocates come together, come up with a strategy and put forth candidates, floor the whole legislative branch of government with social war crime code advocate, and then we get the war crime code? Is that something to consider?
In the context of Liberia, it's hard for me to give you a direct answer because we are, even those of us that have decided to sacrifice for this push, wherein I sometimes leave my family here, get on a plane, go for 2-3 days, have a protest and come back. There are others who have strong political party ties. So by virtue of this question, there are even some individuals that I know they are in the CDC. They do want war and economic crimes code. But if somebody from a political party perhaps is elected, the will of the party is what they're going to be pushing there. That's why I like people to be independent when it comes to politics, especially representation, because you don't take side. So I wouldn't have mind to say, I want to encourage my colleague. I don't mind if I just want somebody that will see light in this call for the establishment of war and economic crimes code. Because we doesn't have no more will. It doesn't want it. Yeah. And so if my colleagues, any of them want it, the only thing I will encourage them is put the political party ties one side. Even if you happen to get there, go there in the interest of the Liberian people.
Thank you.
Now,
let's take our last caller here. That's Teddy Yankun calling us from North Dakota. Teddy, you're live.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother John. Yeah, very interesting conversation relating to war economic crimes code. Yeah, I can share the brother. What's his name? Maxwell.
Yeah, thanks.
Greeting. I extend my greeting to you. I can hear the brother talking about war economic crimes code, but the fact is that people always been talking this, but my suggestion is that I prefer, since the war has taken place in Liberia, we have major players who are culpable of our civil war, the main perpetrator, like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the United States. My suggestion is that the war post-war came from the United States, and Taylor went back there. So, in all indications, they are culpable of the Liberian Civil War. My suggestion to the Liberian people relating to this war crimes code thing, the Liberian young people, we are in America here, and in Liberia, we can organize no opposition business, just everybody. We can organize a popular uprising. We stage a protest to the American people. Liberians in America need to.
Teddy, I want you to clarify when you say uprising is like rebel war. So is that what you're talking about?
Thank you for that. The choice of words.
Okay.
One thing is that a peaceful protest to the American people, and in Liberia, the American embassy, and Liberia spread around the world should join together and call the attention of the international community and protesting to the American people so that what is happening to Liberia, there are good people in America here, you want to know. And the whole bicentennial thing that was going on out there, that protest, peaceful protest relating to our civil war, we Liberians, we have to let the American people know that. If all that bicentennial thing, all that thing will come into place. Because the American people, the common American people want to know, and our business will go on mainstream media. When it goes on mainstream media, then there were the problem between us and this country relating to the Civil War and whatever, everything will come into place. Because our people in America, they want to know that everybody will start digging. Then every good thing will come into place. But if we say we want to find a loophole just to come with some kind of advocacy because President Weah is in power, no, my brother, then you get it wrong. I support the government, but looking, keep on this war crimes code situation. What those people have done to Liberia, some of us, we're not happy with that. But the reason why we don't really support you guys when you guys saying that we don't support the president and the government, because you guys have been directing this here to the president, taking it personal.
Thank you, Teddy.
They don't have nothing to chew on now. They want to find a reason, a point of argument relating to the election.
Thank you, Teddy. Teddy,
yes, sir.
Do you think the president support war crimes code?
The president supports that.
Okay.
But the Liberian people, this is why any bureaucracy will tell you that you should be able to solve your problem yourself.
Right. No, that's all I wanted to know.
The Liberian people should come up with a collective idea. The president gave the Liberian people give the go ahead to the Liberian people.
No,
so the Liberian people
Teddy,
pressure on the House of Representatives.
Teddy,
I can ask him.
Teddy, that thing move from the lawmakers is at the president's desk, because according to the TRC report, the president now supposed to authorize it, but he's sending it back to the legislature.
Thank you.
So it's at the president there. So if the president supported today, he can say, let's do it, it will be done. You think the president have the will to do that?
No, I think the legislature will have to do some due diligence along with the Liberian people, and the president will fully give this.
I wanted to ask him, Teddy.
Thank you.
Like to see scrutinize things, or to see the Liberian people involved in what they want, then before we make a move and make a decision. You don't make a decision just by yourself because you feel that he's the president.
Right. So when you say the Liberian people,
it's all about scrutiny related to the TRC.
Thank you. I will let Max respond. Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him, but he's gone.
He's still here.
Dennis. All right, I wanted to ask him because you're having problem. You said the president being kind of picked out as an individual. You have any idea as to how many of his special advisors that are on the list of a travel ban because they took part in the war and in the TRC?
That's why I forget about all those advisors' business. The Liberian
Oh,
people
but
I just told you.
no. Okay, now this is the point. Now, then let me put you to the point now.
Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teddy. We'll have a separate show on the war crime court, so we can. But go ahead, Max.
Okay. The reason I'm asking that question is because I wanted him to qualify to correct himself. There will be no way that President William, even he have a willpower that deep down in his heart, he really want the war crime court to come. But there will be no way that Charles Bright, that Emmanuel Shaw will be advancing him on serious national issue, economic and whatsoever, security. And then he say, okay, they will tell him, say, okay, my man, go and sign it in, let it work around. Right. Will it happen? It will never happen.
Yeah, give me the rule. Let me hang myself, right?
Yeah, it will not happen. So the brother, I mean, let's just forget about it. It will not happen.
And you see, Mela Prince Johnson, he's the chair on security.
Yeah, you know.
Let's look at a few announcements here. Tomorrow, same time, we're going to have Dr. Kama Morba. He's a former mining engineer in production and grade control at the Bong Mining Company. He will be here to discuss revenue generation and job creation in the mining sector, the case of ArcelorMittal. This Thursday, on Tough Talking Thursday, we're going to be looking at Alexander Benedict Cummings, Joseph Nyuma Boakai, and George Mane Weah. Your choice for 2023, or we should look somewhere else. You don't want to miss it on Tough Talking Thursday. Max?
Yeah.
Let's get to your closing comments, and we're going to be drawing down the curtains. Thank you so much for joining us tonight to talk about these issues.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. Let me seek your permission to say this. Based on what all I've explained here, especially another thing I have spotted in Liberia is this very, very difficult situation our people found themselves in, wherein somebody will do wrong to them, but because they say they don't have money, they don't seek justice. They will stay at home. Soon, we will be launching an organization called Restoring Hope Foundation. We'll be looking for money. We'll be on the ground in Liberia. Then when we hear that Mark Banat's daughter was raped, or this child was abused to the extent that they have to end up the hospital, we want this organization to be there, either to provide little transportation or to help those people with little cash. So soon we're going to be launching this particular foundation before the end of the year, and we'll be coming back to you here to appeal for your help as well. Okay. And on the issue of disability in Liberia, what I have decided to do as well, I have engaged the authorities there. You won't believe. I met one senator, and I'm going to call his name, and I was begging him for him to help for us to have a look at what they have in black and white for disabled people. Then is when I have a group that I'm friendly with, the deaf. They call themselves deaf and dumb. I mean, on the side we say hearing impairment individuals. I met children as young as 7 there. Their parents were bringing them to this guy. It's not even well established, but they've been refused to other schools. And I met young people coming there crying. I met a father once upon a time brought an 8-year-old daughter. Say every school I carry her, they can't accept her because they say they can't understand her. And I got a brother. So disability is a serious problem in Liberia. And even our lawmakers, they are paying no attention up to now. Nobody.
And Max, before you continue, we're going to call you back on a special edition to talk exclusively about disability, because it's a very serious problem. Or there is another advocate who we spoke about it briefly, but unfortunately, we have not been able to have as many shows as we want on this issue. So you have a slot here when you're ready.
All right. So we want to appeal to your viewer tonight, to our viewer tonight, plus yourself, that we do have a TV that I just created on Facebook. We are started talking about it called Review TV Liberia. Review TV Liberia will be exclusively to showcase or profile people with disability in Liberia, and microphone will be given to themselves to be interviewing one another. In fact, this Saturday we're starting with one, well-known, a sister who is in a wheelchair in Liberia. I will be interviewing her on Saturday, and the following week myself will be interviewed. Some of my stories that I didn't finish sharing here, I will share that day as well. So the Review TV Liberia, if you come across it on Facebook, just like the page so that you start following this particular TV is on Facebook already. You'll see it there, Review TV Liberia. So please like us and be able to support us in the future as well, so that the voice of the disabled people, this TV will be able to lift it up in Liberia and even reach beyond boundaries as well. So that's my whole intention about raising the profile of the persons with disability in Liberia, of all disabilities. So on this note, I want to say it's a pleasure. I'm so happy to have been here as your guest, your humble guest as well. And I'm always prepared anytime, Dennis, Mr. C as well. Anytime call upon me. Despite the time, I can even wake up. I can even be up to 2 o'clock already. After 1 o'clock here. So I don't mind, because of Liberia. I can keep awake up to 3 o'clock on the show. I don't mind. Thank you so much for the invitation, and thanks to all those who made their comments as well. Whether you advising me, or you putting in your bit and pieces to make sure that things happen, or encouraging me as well. May God continue to bless all of us. May God continue to bless FOL, and may God continue to bless Liberia as well.
Thank you. Mr. C.
Mr. Mixer, thanks for coming. I think the stories you share here today, your personal stories, were inspiring, were motivating for a lot of us, especially those who listen, and I'm sure those who are going to listen. And so we cannot thank you enough. And more so for giving us first-hand information about the things that we hear. Sometimes we read them in the newspapers. We don't know that they can be true. And to see that you were there, you met the victims, you talked to their loved ones, and you even helped to ensure that those who victimized them were apprehended and held accountable, and that you are telling these stories, that is profound for all of us to have this opportunity to hear them. We can't thank you enough. We will want to also encourage you to continue doing what you're doing. Focus on Liberia. That is what we are for. We educate, we elevate, and we promote. So concerning your institution that you're trying to launch, to provide transportation and do other things for the disability community, and the victims who don't have the hand to seek justice, whatever we can do, we will surely play our part. Thank you for coming. And to the Liberians who listen to us, please share this broadcast with somebody, just as it warm your heart, it inspire you, it gave you reason to be able to follow us. Please share that. We will appreciate that. And then I got something to close. And let me show it to you. Earlier in this broadcast, we talked about somebody show up to the police station, Dennis, and that person, maybe the child is raped. They want the police to record the case and file it so that they can get justice for that baby. What would the police say? Oh, no papers. And so I'm the political guy. Let's chase the money. Stationary for presidential affairs, 2021, 75,000. It jumped from 75,000 for the office of presidential affairs to 508,000, over $500,000 just for papers. And the police don't have papers. So we see where the money is. They're not spending the money for the people, they're spending the money for themselves, or they're spending the money on themselves. And that, I will tell Liberians, you know who your leaders are. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
Well, you always
on that note, we want to close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." And let us do our very best to make our country a glorious land of liberty. Good night, and God bless you.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home.